The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Welcome back, Carlos. Another edition of Table Topics, right?
Table Topics. It's another week, and we're back for one more show of Table Topics. And like always, we have no agenda. We come here, turn the cameras on, and let's see what comes up.
There we go.
But I think it's just fair. First, I want to correct something that I said on last week's show. That's not true.
Okay. Fake news? You're not fake news.
No,
man.
not fake news. It was just I had the amounts mixed of the salaries for the new people on the board. 100, and I had mentioned this. One of the salaries was 165,000.
Okay.
But that's the salary for the new fire chief.
Okay. All right.
I want to correct that before somebody says that I'm fake news. Like I said, I mean, it's so many pages. I tried to read all the pages, and then I got confused who was getting what. So, but with that being said, I think it's just fair if we pick up what we left last week, and now it's a big change. We were talking about Ukraine.
Yep.
And if Putin really was going to go for with the
Ukrainians,
with the attack. So I guess this week is a lot of developments, and I guess that's it. I mean, it's going for.
I'm gonna just, and I think I said this to somebody here in the studio, and they were just looking at me like I was crazy. We had, for the last prior to COVID, we had Russia, right? Like the Brady Bunch, Jan and the Brady Bunch. Then we went to COVID. Now COVID's out of the story. Now it's Russia again. So it's almost like Groundhog Day. You know, all we hear about is Russia and the Ukraine. I'm not saying it's not a serious situation. It's a very serious situation there. But there are things behind all these things too. That how did we get here? And I just, one thing, I had seen this a couple of years back. There is a region of the Ukraine called the Donbass, and I'm probably mispronouncing it, but it's an area where mostly ethnic Russians live, but it was carved out into the Ukraine. They've been fighting literally there since 2014. So people that are there are right in this war zone. The people that live there are sometimes afraid to leave because there are snipers there, and if they have a bad day, they shoot the people. So when Putin came out and said, I want to go liberate that area, that has been going on. There was an agreement with Putin and the Ukraine. It was called the Minsk Agreement, and Minsk is, I think, the capital of Belarus, which is right next door. And that was one of the things they were going to look at, whether giving that portion of the property back to Russia, because most of the people there were Russian, and they didn't feel the Ukrainians were treating them well. So that's something that you see on TV now, and they're like, no, it's not true. But I remember seeing documentaries and reading about this like 3 or 4 years ago, and why isn't anybody doing anything for the people? They tried relocating them. However, people have lived there for generations, and they're like, this is my family's property. Where am I going to go?
And they're fighting, and they're fighting. And I watch some Fox News, I watch some CNN, and I watch some other media too, and they pretty much all saying the same about this war. Is the Putin is surprised how back that he's getting from these people. I don't think that he thought that was going to be easier than actually it is, and people are fighting back.
Well, and this is the thing, Carlos. CNN, MSNBC, Fox, they're all the same. Fox is just controlled opposition, because Fox has been putting out some stories that are not true, along with CNN and MSNBC. And I'll give you one example. There was an island called Snake Island. And I don't know if you had heard that story. It was some military folks out there, and the Russians came in, and the Russians said, you know, you need to surrender. And the Ukrainians yelled back, you know, with some expletive, and they were killed. And then we find out 3 days later, it never happened. They're all back on the Ukraine, on the mainland.
Fake news.
Yeah, fake news. There was another thing that was out there. It was a video of a young girl, and she was yelling at a soldier, almost hitting him. And they said, look at this young lady. The funny part is, I didn't see that on the news. I did see it, and I can't remember what news station, but I did see it. And I'm like, all right, why is this young girl wearing short sleeves? It's wintertime in the Ukraine. And why is it like mostly a desert kind of area? And they came out and said later on that was from 2 or 3 years ago in Palestine. So there are so many things going out there that I personally don't believe anything I see. I've been trying to watch the European news. I find them more authentic.
With the phones, it's like you can, you know, tape something and use it 2 years later. You know.
And there's another thing that came out. I think it was there was a lady that I had seen. She was a teacher. She had blonde hair, probably about 50 years old, and I guess her apartment had just been attacked. You know, so she had blood on her face, and a reporter captured that. Well, then somebody had that same lady 3 years prior, almost similar picture, and her building. They showed her in front of her building. Well, that building did explode because of a gas explosion prior. So you just never really know. And I think that was out of the Daily Mail that had posted that in the UK.
Well, one of the things that we talked before is how long is the help going to hold back? And how long the country is going to wait before they step in to help? And one thing that I think that they're holding back is as long as they keep it fair. As long as it's a war, it's a war. If you're going to fight with a knife, make sure both of them have knives. If you're going to fight with guns, make sure both of them have guns. Now, I think that's now Russia is stepping up into a point that, you know, they're desperate to win. They're desperate to win, and they're going to start using something that they're not supposed to. So I think that's when the other country is going to step in and say, you know, you play fair and win the best. But when you start breaking rules that all the other countries don't agree with, I think that's when they're going to stop jumping in.
I mean, I hope to God it never comes to, we both, you know, there are nuclear powers there. So hope to God it never comes to that, because it's not our situation. That has nothing to do with us. It's not our situation at all. And I'm just going to give you one thing, and this was on the NBC National News. So can you imagine if there were tanks in our country, on our street, say on Eastern Avenue, there's a tank there. The tank is out of gas or whatever. Can you imagine anybody driving up to it, pulling over with military people? The civilian has no gun, military guns, and saying, what's wrong? Why would you do that as a civilian? What's wrong? And the soldier said, we're out of gas. And the civilian responded, well, maybe I should tow you back to Russia. Now, would any sane individual with 3 soldiers in front of a tank with long guns say that? And that was on the NBC National News. You know what I mean? Does that sound like sanity to you, or something that would happen in a... Does that sound like that? Would you do that?
Could be from this war?
Yes, that was in this war.
That's another question.
No, but that was
from this war?
Yeah, it was from. No, I don't know, but that was the NBC National News had that on last night. It just doesn't look like a sane thing to me. Well, whenever I've seen war pictures,
it is a video going on media too, of a tank going over a car with a civilian, an old civilian driving, and he almost got killed. So, you know, it's that. It's that fair too?
I just like, what I don't want to see is this big hype to go to war. We've been in wars. We just got out of Afghanistan. It's an absolute disaster over there. People are selling their children to get through the winter. I mean, can you imagine having to sell a child? People are selling their children for $1,500 to eat and have heating. You know what I mean? We went in there and it's an absolute disaster. We just left that. So the last thing we need to do is go into another war. I think most Americans, we've been in nonstop wars year after year after year. We've been very lucky that we've never had it here because we're kind of isolated. But Europe has been invaded. People have gone in there. Asia, Africa, and in Russia. I don't want to see another war. It has nothing to do with us.
I just see this war different from the others because of the power that it's there, that Russia has. So for that reason, I see this a different war if he steps into that. Right now, as far as I saw news last night, it seemed like bombs.
Yeah.
So he's already trying to play dirty.
Well,
not that the war is clean, but that's exactly what I was trying to say before is, well, we're now winning this war like fair, so let's throw bombs because they don't have a bomb.
Yeah.
And if they come up with the bombs, we will put a missile somewhere. You know, so that's what I'm saying, that we could be coming to a big war.
Yeah, and it could, you know, what's the thing that's going out? World War III. And that's what scares me. If you look back at history with World War II and World War I, you know what I mean? It kind of starts where it's just one or two people, and then everybody gets involved. And now we have nuclear weapons. That scares me. And that's why this needs to be diffused. I mean, this was all.
But how?
This was all brought up.
The question is how.
But this was all brought up on the pretext of basically being able to go into NATO. And now, if you're at war with someone that doesn't want you part of NATO, why in God's name would you sign an agreement to join the European Union? Does that make any sense? Aren't you supposed to quash this a little bit?
But the Ukraine, it's not part of the NATO.
No, the European Union's different, but they want to get membership into NATO. And Russia's trying to say, hey, basically, I don't want NATO at our border. Just like back in 1962, when we told Cuba, we don't want Russia right at our door. This is what they're saying. So I wish people would have gone in and been a little bit more diplomatic instead of getting to this point and say, hey, what can we do? You know what I mean? They are a sovereign country. However, we understand you don't want another group right at your doorstep, because here in America, we didn't want them in Cuba at our doorstep. So we got to understand that. And we almost came to a nuclear war back in '62 because Kennedy said, you better do this or not. So, you know, there are so many different things that started this. And, you know, it gets to where, say you're arguing. You and I are arguing, we're family. Then our mom gets into it. Then our dad gets into it. Then now it's all the family is into it. We need to stop, put a hold on it. Or as they say, we need to reset this. All right.
Well, let's put it this way. America needs a reset himself.
Exactly. Because
we need a reset.
I have to say, Carlos.
There's still people out there believing that if Trump was there, this won't happen.
No, it wouldn't happen.
So what are we going to do? Keep Trump there forever so this will never happen?
I'm not saying that, Carlos, but for 4 years we had President Trump. We never had a war. Go back. Just rewind a little bit, all right? So North Korea was going crazy, which they've done under Bush. They did under Obama. And all they were saying was, we're going to have a nuclear war. He's crazy, right? Nothing happened. I don't hear anybody saying, Biden, you know what I mean? We don't want a nuclear war with Biden. Do you hear anybody say anything about that? No. So we got to look at things. It doesn't matter who the people are, whether you like. There are a lot of things about Trump I didn't like. You know what I mean? But you got to look at it and see that why is not the media making a big deal about, we have a person, and I just look at this, I think it's so crazy that we have congressmen that will say that there's no cognitive problem with our president. You know what I mean? Come on. If that was Trump acting, if Trump couldn't finish a sentence, would you not think they were all over him? Now they're trying to say Putin.
Well, the Trump has too many sentences.
Carlos.
In one phrase.
Carlos,
so that's a different.
Honestly, when you see Vladimir Putin and then you see Joe Biden on TV, which one doesn't look like they're having issues right now?
Same thing if you replace Trump with Biden.
I'm just saying. No, I'm taking two people, Vladimir Putin and Biden. We look at this. take them out as being a president. They're just two individuals. People on the media are trying to say, which is this to me, warmongering, all right? Putin is out of his mind. He's got dementia, he's got this. Is that not obscene when we have our president that can't finish a sentence?
Yeah, but I mean, to me, they both, are they already taught by the doctors that they have dementia, both of them?
No, well, that's what they keep on saying. Like Trump had dementia, right? Everybody said Trump had dementia. Now Putin's got dementia.
Well, the people are complaining. This one, they know is way out of the stage.
Yeah.
He has dementia. Trump just bumped into a closed door. He didn't have a problem.
No. He can finish. Carlos, take it from someone that had a family member that had Alzheimer's and dementia, and when I see people that are at that place, they can't find things or they can't remember their words, it's heartbreaking to me. It's absolutely heartbreaking to me that nobody's reaching out to a person. Why aren't they saying, hey, you know what I mean, what's going on? But again, we see that just here at the local level, it's all about power. There are certain people that want to stay in power, and it doesn't matter who,
locally, it's the
you know what I
same
mean?
thing.
It's the same thing. Exactly. Exactly.
Same thing.
You know what I mean?
And it sometimes goes in 3 generations already. That they become politics because they just follow.
Nothing changes. We have a lot of new people that got into politics. I always love this at a local level, right? We have these old people that have done, and I shouldn't say old because I'm their age now. You know, they did it this way, and they're like, oh, that was corrupt, or they weren't right. And then you have the new people come in, and they're just as bad. So, like, you can't come to me and say they were this, that, the other thing when you do absolutely the same thing.
And this happens locally because it's the same people backing them up. Yeah. So you cannot stay clean if people around you smokes all day. You gonna start smoking.
Yeah.
That's the problem that we have right now. If they say I become a politician and I don't smoke, so guess what? Don't smoke around me.
Yeah.
Shut the doors. If you want to stay with me, if you want to talk to me, you don't smoke with me because I'm not a smoker. But the problem is they say, well, if I don't smoke with you, then I'm not going to give you money.
Yeah. Oh.
So you're not going to get that position that you are right now. So what they do, they shut their mouths and allow people to do whatever they want. That's exactly what happens. And this is being said over and over and over again. Yeah. It's only a few people, 5 or 6 people, that do whatever they want on the city. Doesn't matter who you put in president of the city or who you elect for mayor. Who you elect for mayor. Those people dominate everything. So you become right there, and what they do is they get to the 6th floor and they tell them, you know something, you're the mayor, you have the title, but I run the city. That's exactly what happens there.
Carlos.
Until we have somebody, a mayor, that shuts the door and kicks everybody out. Okay, but you know why they don't do that? Because those $1,000 checks don't come to the bank account, so they can put themselves out there to get elected.
Yeah, absolutely.
So until we have a person that don't need money to get elected, and use his own money to get elected, and can tell everybody else, okay, I don't need nobody. I'm here for the people, and the only thing I'm going to do is for the people. We're never going to get out of this.
No, I agree. And that's at the federal level, that's at the state level, that's at the world level. You know what I mean? That there are just things that are going on. So I agree with you. I just want to say one thing to close this out is that I feel terrible for the people of the Ukraine. I don't justify what's going on. I just don't want America to get involved in this. I don't want Europe to get involved with this. I don't want Africa or South America to get involved in it because that's how world wars start.
Well, let's hope it's all in Russia.
Yeah. Hopefully it stays.
That's all in Russia.
Yeah.
If I hope that stays between them.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, if Russia tries to be smart, okay, then it's gonna trick the other countries to become in help.
Yeah. Yeah,
and when it's done, that's it.
Yeah, and there's a financial price to pay for this. We're putting all these financial sanctions on them, but that eventually will come here to America too. You know what I mean? Their money just dropped, I think, below $1. I mean, below a penny. So 1 Russian ruble equals 1 penny, less than a penny now in the USA. So you know what I mean? We're a global economy right now. So you know what I mean? We can't expect that we're putting on these sanctions and almost destroying their economy, that it's not going to affect the rest of the world. So anyway, with that,
So
next topic.
let's bring it. We have about 8 minutes, so let's bring it back to. Before we get out of there, let's hope that next week we have better news.
I hope so.
On this, because we had worse news this week from last week. So let's hope that when we come back next week, we will have maybe a surprise.
Yeah, hopefully. I hope so.
So bring it back. Last city council meeting, we talked about. We filmed here, and then I went down to City Hall, and I was actually there during the meeting. Very interesting meeting again, and here it comes, the Diman, which we've been talking about even before Durfee.
Yeah.
Durfee rushed.
Yeah.
But Diman has been working for the past 10 years on this school. Okay. One thing that I still don't understand is, and it's not about the votes, it's just the price of the building. Yeah. And how much gonna, remember when we talk about how come the school department takes half of our budget? The school, I remember last year was $126 million out of $240 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was 50% of the city budget to educate 10,000 kids. To educate 10,000 kids. So half of the money from 90,000 residents goes to pay education for 10,000 kids. Now let's bring it back to the schools and the two constructions. Diman versus Durfee. Durfee. We're talking about $23 million difference. $23 million difference between the two buildings.
So Diman's less or more?
Diman, it's more.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense to me.
So, but here's the thing. Diman holds 1,400 students. Durfee holds 10,000 students.
No, I think it's 2,500, like 2,500.
2,500.
Yeah, but you're
I'm
right.
talking about the 10,000. It's all
kids
schools.
altogether. No.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you don't have to.
Thank you. I don't have to apologize in my next show. Yeah, you're right. Because the 10,000, I talked to 10,000 was
the whole thing.
from the whole students from the schools,
no, you're good.
from the budget.
You're good.
So it's 1,200 versus 2,400.
Yeah.
So it's double.
Yeah.
And we're paying the same price.
Yeah. But I have to say that Diman is going to be taken care of a lot better than Durfee. That Diman building was there before the Durfee that we're tearing down. That Durfee that we tore down was built in 1978. Diman, I think, was built in either the 50s or the 60s. So if you look at it in this sense, we're on the second Durfee. We're still on the first Diman.
Yes. No, and I understand that definitely the students is going to come out of Diman with the better quality of.
Yeah, they're going to have a better background, probably.
Exactly, and to fund a job and to start their own lives.
Yeah.
I understand that, but the price of the buildings, a wall, it's a wall.
Yeah, but it's
a window, it's a window.
But it's a technical school, Carlos. So they have to have, like, the auto shop stuff there. You know what I mean? If there's a drafting area, they have to have all that.
And I'm not saying that Diman, it's not going to have all of that and shouldn't have all of that. Yeah. What I'm saying is, why did we pay the same amount of money for Durfee?
Oh, you're trying to say we pay? Oh, why? Well, because of that extra stuff, they need. Durfee doesn't have like a auto body shop. You know what I mean? For the
Yeah, they don't have it, but costs us the same money. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm missing out here. I'm totally lost.
Both buildings are pretty much, to cut it straight, the same price.
You said Diamond's the same price as Durfee?
Yes.
All right. I thought you said Diamond was more money than Durfee.
Yeah, let's break even.
All right.
Let's break even because so we don't put 20 million more than the other.
Okay.
Let's break even.
Okay.
And compare the quality of education and the quality of students we have and the amount of students we're going to educate.
Yeah.
We're paying the same price for a window at Diamond that we're going to pay for Durfee.
Durfee, yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So Durfee was.
To me, Durfee, it's overpriced. Way overpriced.
All right. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying Diamond. I thought you were saying the opposite.
No.
Yeah.
To compare both buildings, I think Durfee came a price tag way overpriced. If Diamond would become first, I don't think Durfee would get it.
Yeah.
The Durfee school.
Yeah, they probably.
And they knew that, so they rush it.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's happened with Durfee is, we had to have certain fields because we had to compete with the other communities. I'm trying to remember, do we have a pool in Durfee now?
Yes.
All right, so we have a pool. I don't know if I don't think Fairhaven High has that. I don't think New Bedford High has a pool either. And New Bedford High was built before the first Durfee in 1978. So, yeah.
But even if we compare break to break on the buildings, now we have the quantity of students.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to just say this. I'm just going to say about the students is that Diamond can select the kids that go there. Durfee has to take anybody. You know what I mean? They have to take everybody. And I don't think a lot of people know in education, it's not like when I went to school or when you went to school back in the 70s and 80s.
Well, that's why you still have Diamond, the first Diamond.
Yeah, but I mean...
That's why you still have the first Diamond, because they picked the students.
Yeah, but I could never imagine when I went to school having someone, like a teacher assistant sitting near a student of mine, showing them, you know what I mean, having to sit with them. So the cost in education in this country has skyrocketed because we have all these different, you know what I mean, issues now that they have to deal with. And that all costs money. You know what I mean? If you have to have one person working with one kid because they have, autism or whatever, you're paying that person $20,000, $25,000. That's peanuts. However, that's another person that you have. And if you have 50 of these kids, you know what I mean?
I still think that we pay way too much money for education on this city.
We should go in to take a tour of one of the schools, and you'll probably think differently.
Well, I don't want to go because I'm going to see a kid sleeping, and then I'm going to get mad and upset.
This is not the 1980s anymore. We know that. The 1970s. Those days are long gone.
Well, but I'm glad that, and that's something we didn't have a chance to talk to, because now it becomes a question. They all want to vote it, yes, yes, yes. Only 3 voted no. Not to have the building, the construction, the building, but to give the chance. Those 3 no's was to give the chance of people to vote if they want to build the school or not. Now the other city councils approved. So if the citizens voted no, the city council already approved it.
Yeah. I didn't understand a lot of that, to be honest with you. I really.
We need to come back on that next week. So I think we already are on the 30-minute limit. So thank you, John, again for coming by, and we promise we'll be back next week. I hope with better news from Ukraine.
Okay. Have a good night.